Haymaker punch defense, this is used when my opponent is really coming at me, kind of charging at me with a big punch. The sucker punch defense is used more for when he's advancing but not really charging, running at me. Sucker punch I can use because I'm really looking to just shut this punch down. But if he's coming at me with this big charging, winding punch, I might not want to just put my head into that and try and stuff it. So instead of stuffing the punch, what I'm looking to do is just avoid it entirely. So as he advances, I see him really charging at me, I'm going to drop my level under the punch. So it's kind of counterintuitive because I'm dropping and kind of turning away from the punch. But the idea is that he's coming in with such force with his upper body that he's not going to be able to react and adjust in time before I get under. So as he advances, I'm going to shift towards the punch. Okay? So I'll have him swing from this side so you can see from a different angle. He advances, and I'm going to shift my level here. Okay? So I'm looking to straddle his legs in kind of the T position, but I'm dropping and putting this arm across and in front so that I can scoop both of the legs. So he comes at me, T position here, and you can see I put this arm in front because I want to scoop both of the legs. So don't grab the pants on it, I want to scoop the legs. So I'm just making two little hooks with my hands here behind the legs. So a couple of things we have to keep in mind with this punch. It's really designed for when someone's really forward leaning with the upper body. They're really putting everything into this big punch. Okay. Probably the most common issue we run into when we train this punch is my opponent comes at me, he's not really lunging forward, he's just kind of advancing and throws this punch and stays very vertical. So if my opponent stays very vertical, we've got to modify it because I'm no longer able to complete the move. I need him leaning very forward to complete the move. So with all of that said, we'll go ahead and show the move and then we'll break it down and then show the variations off the move for when the person remains kind of upright. So my opponent comes at me, step in, my arms are in position, I'm going to drop my hips and look up, lift, dump, and if possible, I'm turning and catching this arm for the arm lock. So, one more time, somewhat full speedish, and then we'll break it down from here. Okay. So the important details of getting this to work, one, he has to be leaning forward. Okay. The more he leans forward, the more he straddles his weight across my back. Okay. When I lift my opponent, if I stay in this position, I'm lifting with my back. And against a big boy, you're not going to be able to lift. So when I go to lift, I'm actually going to drop my hips under, and I like to really look up so that I'm in this strong squatting position to be able to lift with my legs. Okay. The other thing I'm doing is as I lift, I like to kind of push my hip forward here to help lift with my hip rather than with just my hands. Okay, if I just try and pick them up here and chuck them over my back, it's going to be very difficult. But if I can really scoop with my hips, it makes things a lot easier. So, kind of slow motion here, we'll really break it down. Okay, he comes in, T position, cut the legs, dropping my hips, looking up, okay, and really scoop here, okay. He should be able to rest kind of on my quad here, if I'm doing this correctly. Then from here, I really want to lift his legs above his head, okay. Then I'm dropping, all right. So you can see, I'm not throwing him, okay. I see this all the time where people try and twist the back to throw them over the back. Okay, we never want to twist our back on this. I'm scooping, putting that hip a little forward, lifting the legs high. Okay, you can see I'm not throwing the legs. I'm not spinning them to the side. I'm just lifting them kind of over my shoulder. So, one more time. T position, tuck between the legs, hips drop, look up, scoop with the hip, lift the legs high. From here, I just go. Okay. Turn in, if we catch the arm, great. If not, that's okay too. So, maybe one or two more times. He comes in. Okay, the more he leans into me, leans that weight onto me, the easier this is. So, with that said, let's talk about if the guy remains upright. Okay. We come in, and he gets very difficult to lift right here. So, instead of lifting, I'm just going to dump him backwards. Okay? So I'm just going to block his foot here, and this arm is going to swing around as I turn into him and sit. And we end up right here. Okay. So from here, I can turn in, or if he pushes on me, a lot of people will start pushing on the back, and we can go into some different mounts. Okay. But at the very least, we end up in that cross-body position. So, that one again. Super easy. If you're a woman, or you have a big attacker, okay, sometimes difficult to lift this opponent. We can do this nice, simple variation right here. Okay. One other variation is if the guy is still leaning forward, but we're still unable to lift. So he comes in here. I'm still able to lift. Okay. I can just suck him into this hole right here. Okay. So different angle here. He comes in, I lift, and just dump him into that hole. So, the only difference here is when I lift, instead of bringing the legs here, I pull them across this way. Okay. So, let's go this side again and show both of those variations. So, first one. Just blocking that leg, taking him over. Without a body, I'm stepping in, and I'm literally just drawing a line, a big arc with my hand as I fall to that hip. The other variation, I pick, scoop, pull the legs across. If you don't like the one Helio shows, you have two great variations that really are a lot easier.